Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about the sound department in films. Because I see ads or posts for jobs all the time where they over explain what the position is or what the job description is, and they never get it right. Sometimes they look for sound designers, and then the description describes as a dialogue editor, which is a different thing. Or they look for sound editor, and then the description indicates that they are actually looking for a sound designer. Or they tell you that you need a sound post-production sound, and well, you get the idea. Sound mixing, sound designing, dialogue editing, not the same thing. So they are different processes. In big movies, they are done by different crews, by different people. And in independent films, which is my field of expertise, they are almost always done by one person, sometimes two, but it's almost always one person. So what is the difference? Dialogue editor or sound editor. How do we start? Okay, dialogue editor is the person that takes care of all the sound that was recorded live on set, all the production sound that is synced with the picture, and is obviously mostly dialogue. Sound effects also sometimes the real sounds of the ambience that happen, the props, the footsteps, the ambience, all that. And so that usually gets separated into a production effects track. Well, let's not get too technical. Dialogue. The dialogue. My brain is a little. The dialogue editor takes care of the dialogue. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, okay, so that's not the same thing as sound designing. The sound designing doesn't touch the dialogue at all. Sometimes they don't even listen to it. That involves everything other than sound. For example, ambiences, sounds, Foley recordings. It's usually two different crews doing Foley and sound design, but in the independent film world, it's just the same crew, the same guy doing everything. Okay, so Foley is the sounds that props make and the people make, footsteps. What I described before that happened on set, whatever the production audio files didn't get, needs to be recreated on the studio, and it needs to sound as if it was coming from the screen. It always lives in the center channel, but that's mixing. That's something else. So the production, the sound design is okay. Let's go back. Okay, my brain is a little bit. There are 5 elements in a sound, in a film sound. Silence, of course. So there's 4. Dialogue. I already told you what that is. Then we have music, which is a different department. Okay, so the other 2 is sound effects, and what was I talking about? Okay, it was sound effects, dialogue, music, silence, and ambience. There are 5 elements on the sound mix. Oh yeah, music, dialogue, silence, sound effects, and ambience. All right. Anyways, the sound design takes care of the ambience as well, so it's sound effects. The sound. What is the job of the sound designer? Okay. You see how it overlaps? I'm testing you. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, let's use an example. Horror movies. You know all these sounds that happen in the background, like that don't necessarily musical, but they are like just awkward, weird noise or disturbing noise. That is sound design. Ambience, like little birds, wind, traffic passing by, and anything that is ambience is ambience. Okay. Then we have a low end. I usually spend at some time working only on the stuff that goes on the subwoofer, because in a surround mix, the subwoofer needs a special treatment because it makes everything like super more powerful, more cinematic. So that is also sound design, as well as not just the subwoofer, but also the high end. The high end sometimes needs dedication. And so basically, the sound designer takes care of every sound that is not dialogue and that is not music. Oh, yeah, that's a good way to put it. it's not as easy to describe sometimes. And look, if a sound mixer like I'm a sound engineer. I've been doing sound for independent films for 15 years. If I have trouble describing the position, imagine someone who has no idea, or who's a producer making their first film, or a director making the first film. It's perfectly normal to be a little bit lost and don't know what we're doing. So uh, dialogue editor takes care of everything that is voice, including voiceovers, ADR, dialogue that happens on set. The sound designer takes care of every sound that is not voice and that is not music. Okay, what the other position is the sound mixer. If you see Hollywood credits at the end of the movies, they call it re-recording mixers. Is in the independent film world, we just call ourselves sound mixers. What we do is we put together all the soundtrack. So we take the stuff that we take the dialogue, we take all the sound design and the ambience, Foley, everything that is a component of the sound track. We bring the music from the composer, usually in stems, or even instrument by instrument sometimes, if the music allows for it or if it's necessary. And we mix that into a single piece, into a single product that makes sense and that is coherent to what is going on in the picture. The reason we need this process called mixing is because if we don't do that, we're gonna have things competing with each other. We're gonna have dialogue competing with the music, competing with the sound effects, and getting in the way of each other. So the mixing makes sure that doesn't happen. Whenever the dialogue is going on, everything else is second place, and whenever there's no dialogue, something else is first place. Maybe there's the sound effects, or maybe it's the music, or whatever it is. So the mixing is putting everything together as one final product. You get the idea, the basic idea of what the different positions in the sound department are. The dialogue editor is not the same as sound designer, is not the same as the sound mixer. So if you're looking for someone in your independent film, for someone to look to mix your film, your short film or your feature film, chances are that you're gonna need someone experienced in doing all of those things, because that's gonna be the most effective way to save time and, of course, budget. Because if you could afford to hire a proper studio, a Hollywood studio, chances are you wouldn't be making independent film, because that's very expensive. So I think this video is long enough, so bye.